Thank you very much, Mr. President, Madam Minister, Mr. Commissioner. If you'd allow me, I'd like to put forward 5 points about our report on integration capacity. Of course, start by thanking all of the colleagues involved in the process and certainly the Secretariat who did a wonderful job. My first point is about the terminology that we are using today. The original term that we've dealt with was absorption capacity. When we were discussing who was going to do this report, I talked to Mr. Absorption himself, my good friend Elmar, and we came to the conclusion that perhaps absorption is not the best term to use. And I think Carl Bildt put it very well. Who wants to be absorbed by the European Union? Does France want to be absorbed by the European Union? Of course, the answer is no. So we went for a more dynamic, more positive term and decided that integration capacity is really what we are looking at. My second point is that this is potentially a sensitive subject because there are many interests. My colleague and friend, Mr. Brok, made reference to some of them. In other words, you have those types of people who are against enlargement but for the Constitution. You have those who are against the Constitution but for enlargement. Then you have those like myself who are for the Constitution and for enlargement. And then, of course, you have the likes of Nigel Farage and the rest who would be against both. Now, what we tried to do was to swim through these 4 types of interest, and I think we've done it fairly well in this report. The notion of integration capacity, of course, is nothing really new. We've always had it. There's always a debate before every and each enlargement about how much the European Union should deepen. Before 1973, the Union became a customs union. Before 1986, the Single European Act was put forward. Before the Finnish, Austrian, and Swedish accession, you had the Maastricht Treaty. Before the Big Bang in 2004, you had Amsterdam and Nice. What we want is to have a constitution before the next enlargement. Now, third point, how then do we define integration capacity? I think the conclusion of this report is that, yes, you can give a vague notion of what it actually means, and you could say that it is not a condition for enlargement, but it is a criteria for us, the current member states. We have to set our house in order before we are able to enlarge. The difficulty is that you cannot give integration capacity a strict definition because it's linked to 2 things. 1, the time of accession. 2, the number of new states coming in. In other words, enlargement in 1973 was radically different from enlargement in 2004. My 4th point, still on the definition, integration capacity is about 3 things: institutions, budget, and policies. My 4th point is about the public debate. And here I would like to point the finger at the European Council, who is saying that we need to link enlargement to public opinion. We say, yes, of course you have to do that, but do not tell me that you don't have the chance to do it. Enlargement negotiations are opened through unanimity. Each chapter is opened with unanimity. Each chapter is closed with unanimity. The whole package is approved by unanimity. And on top of that, each member state is supposed to ratify accession. If under those 2 to 10 years you're not able to explain the benefits of enlargement to the general public, then I think you're miserably failing in your job. So please do your job and then come and start talking about public opinion. We really need to have more strategic thinking on enlargement. My final point then is about the Constitution. This report outlines a number of issues which we really desperately need before the next enlargement. About qualified majority voting, about legal personality, foreign minister, common security policy, etc., etc. These are issues which we badly need before we can enlarge. And the message from this report is, let's get that house in order before 2009 and then start enlarging. And I'll finish off with this. I think enlargement is probably the best policy the European Union has ever ever had. It has brought with it peace, prosperity, security and stability. And when we talk about enlargement, let's not put down bad excuses, because we know that we are never yet always ready to enlarge. Thank you very much.